The Zodiac Killer is believed to be responsible for at least 5 murders in the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1960s. The self-proclaimed Zodiac Killer was directly linked to at least 5 murders in Northern California in 1968 and 69, and may have been responsible for more. After he taunted police and made threats through letters sent to area newspapers from 1969 to 1974, further communication from him abruptly stopped. Despite an intense search for the killer and the investigation into numerous suspects, no one was ever arrested for the crimes, and the case remains open. The mystery surrounding it has been the subject of countless books and even more theories, and has been the inspiration for several movies. At present, 4 separate attacks have been definitively linked to the Zodiac Killer. The first confirmed incident took place on the night of December 20th, 1968, when 17-year-old David Faraday and his 16-year-old girlfriend Betty Jensen were shot to death near their car at a remote spot on Lake Herman Road on the outskirts of California. Police were left baffled, unable to determine the motive for the crime or a suspect. Then on the early morning of July 5th, 1969, Darlene Ferrin, aged 22, and her boyfriend Mike Magoo, aged 19, were sitting in a parked car when they were approached by a man with a flashlight who fired multiple shots at them, killing Ferrin and seriously wounding Magoo. Within an hour of the incident, a man called the Vallejo Police Department, giving them the location of the crime scene and claiming responsibility for this attack and the 1968 murders of Faraday and Jensen. Despite this confession and Magoo's description of the assailant, little progress was made in the case. On August 1st, 1969, San Francisco Chronicle and Vallejo Times each received an identical handwritten letter in an envelope without a return address, beginning, "Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman." The letters contained details from the murders that only the killer could have known. The killer went on to threaten further attacks if the letters weren't printed on the front pages of both papers, each closed with a symbol consisting of a circle with a cross through it. While Bay Area police departments, with the support of the FBI, worked to track down the killer, several days later he sent another letter to the San Francisco Examiner, beginning, "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking." It also described the murders in detail and taunted police for not having been able to track his code or catch him. Despite the evidence, including fingerprints, Magoo's description, and the tips and leads, police were unable to track down the Zodiac Killer. On the evening of September 27th, 1969, he struck again, approaching young couple Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell as they relaxed on an isolated part of the shore in Napa County. Wearing a hood and shirt bearing a cross symbol, he tied them up before brutally stabbing them, scrawling a message for the police on their car door and leaving the scene. He then called the Napa Police Department to claim responsibility. Shepard and Hartnell were both in critical condition, but alive when the emergency services arrived. But Shepard died of her wounds shortly afterwards. 2 weeks later, on October 11th, 1969, the Zodiac claimed another life, shooting 29-year-old taxi driver Paul Stein in San Francisco's Presidio Heights neighborhood. As the murder did not seem to fit the Zodiac's pattern, it was initially deemed a robbery, but 3 days later a letter received by the San Francisco Chronicle proved otherwise. Written in the same erratic print as his previous letters, it gave the details of Stein's murder and was accompanied by a bloody scrap of Stein's shirt. At the end of the letter, the killer stated his intention to murder a school bus full of children. With the descriptions from witnesses who had seen a man leaving the scene of Stein's murder, police were able to create a sketch of the killer, but despite mounting evidence and the investigation of numerous suspects, he remained at large, continuing his taunting with the Bay Area papers, in which he mocked the police for their inability to catch him. Then in 1974, the letters stopped, and in the nearly 5 decades since the Faraday-Jensen murders, the inability to identify the Zodiac Killer has continued to frustrate law enforcement. At least 5 other murders have been linked to the Zodiac. No suspect has ever been arrested.